Hey everyone, what's up? It's your favorite Guatemalan, and today I want to talk about how Guatemala changed me as a person. Like, and I've said this a gazillion times before, but if you don't know, I was born in Guatemala. I'm Guatemalan. Both my parents are Latinos. Um, and Yeah, I mean, we left because uh, of my disability and the fact that there were just no resources for someone like me. Even with our wealth, we were pretty well off. And yeah, so I grew up in the United States alongside two of my other brothers. And yeah, I mean, because of circumstances surrounding immigration, which I have alluded to before, and I've also alluded to how Guatemala changed my outlook on a lot of things, but which I won't really get into in terms of immigration here because of, well, the current administration. But yeah, guys, I grew up in poverty in near the Tampa Bay area. Um, and then later, like near the nation's capital, the U.S. capital, and yeah, I mean, I didn't go back to Guatemala because of the situation until 16 years roughly after we left and I had like graduated high school and stuff like that. And I mean, shout out to my mom for real because she apparently had been saving up all this time for the day when I would go back. Um and what can I say? I was just so surprised and yeah, she just told me one day like, "Hey bro, now that this immigration situation is sorted out, like you're going to Guatemala. I'm sending you with your other brother that's there and he's going to take care of you like old times." Which as I've also said here before, my brothers, cuz again, my parents became my lower class, like working class migrant workers. They were really the ones that took care of me. Um really, and specifically this brother that I was going to see after so much time, specifically him for a lot of that time. And yeah, so that summer 16 or 17 years later, guys, I took both my wheelchairs, my electric one, my manual one, and then my bath chair. And yeah, I went back to Guatemala City on a plane by myself. My mom just dropped me off, but after that I was alone. It was my first time flying in an airplane that I remembered. Of course, we entered the US on an airplane as well, but I was 2 years old. I didn't remember that. So, Yeah, and actually on the plane I was really scared, and there was this nice lady who was also headed there who was like talking to me in Spanish, and like she held my hand, she reassured me, and you know, I'll never forget that moment. But when I got in to Guatemala City, man, when I got into the airport, it was like 1 o'clock at night, bro. The flight was 4 hours, and then you know during, I think, um when we're not in, or during daylight savings time, I think, or maybe when we're not in there, I can't remember, but there's a 2 hour difference. Guatemala uses mountain time. Uh, Usually there have been specific examples where they went back or they went forward to save on energy costs, but I wasn't around during those times. But usually there's a 2 hour difference, and then I think during daylight savings there's a 1 hour difference, but I was there during a 2 hour difference, and like, yeah, bro, I was exhausted. I remember, we came home from the airport. There's one specific guy. Number one, my chair was busted, which airport staff always does. They always do that because they don't know how to handle chairs. It's something so rare, right? The solution in Guatemala to a person like me, usually, unless you have the money, but even then, because we did, is to just like hide us and stuff like that. There are places that are accessible, that are run privately, but most places are not. Uh, Even though Guatemala, I'm pretty sure, was a signatory and then a ratifier of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and they technically have disability rights legislation on the books. Of course, we know it's one thing to have that sort of thing on the books and then commit to actually, like, changing public facilities, which is, despite my, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys can tell I'm a leftist, very critical of the United States and its empire, but despite that, I do have to give them credit for that. Like, I have to be for real about that. But yeah. Anyway, my chair was kind of like busted, and you have to rent. Uh, there's one specific guy, literally, um, who gets his wheelchair accessible vans built in Miami and then sent down to Guatemala. Um, so that he basically runs a taxi service with them to shuttle incoming and outgoing disabled people to and from where they need to go in Guatemala, because, like, you know once again, not a lot of places that do accessibility modifications exist over there like they do here. So he has a fleet that he swaps in and out of depending on the trips, and he goes all around Guatemala and makes bank. Well, you know, taking disabled people places anyway. So yeah, he took us to where I was gonna be staying. We get in, guys. Um, and um, like, bro, I'm exhausted. They offer me a tamal. Of course, I eat it, bro. Like, you know. And back then, I was a lot heavier than I am now. I was around 150 back then. I was humongous out of high school. But, like, I was like a strong man. Uh, uh, and so, yeah, I'm exhausted. We talk for a little bit while I eat. And then, bro, I just collapse. I'm like, I need to go to bed, man. And, uh, totally exhausted. And guess what, bro? The night I got there, I slept through a 6.5 magnitude earthquake. And the next day when I wake up, it's probably, excuse me, like 9 or 10 in the morning. My brother is like, uh, so did you feel anything last night? I'm like, nah, nah, what happened? Oh, and he's like, there was an earthquake. I'm like, oh. Um, there were like little tremors the whole time I was there, but like, bro, I literally slept through the 6.5 earthquake. I was so tired. I was knocked out. Um. Anyway, so yeah. For 2 months after that, cause that's how long I was there. My brother and my other family members took me basically all around Guatemala. Um, of course, they took me around Guatemala City first thing, pretty much. And I got to see the crazy traffic. Dang, bro. I got called gringuito, which, I mean, I'm canche. I have dirty blonde slash brown hair and green eyes, and I'm pale, so of course I was gonna get called that, and I was actually coming from the US, and it was like one of the first days, man. I forget exactly where we were. We might have been in Antigua, maybe, but yeah, we were getting mangoes, and the vendor, he was like, "Quieren uno para el gringuito? Do you want one for the gringuito?" I'm like, bruh. But nah, and yeah, bro, I went to Antigua. I went uh to to Shela. Uh, I went to Chiquimula, and yeah, Shela I really liked because I was with my cousin, and like, I don't know, I do have family from there. The One of my three times great grandmothers was born there, although she was raised in Chiapas, so she's technically also Mexican, but Vicenta La Parra de la Cerda, um, who she was also disabled like me, although her disability came from complications from pregnancy, and she founded the first two newspapers run by women for women's issues, and she was a feminist. Um, called La Voz de la Mujer, which means a woman's voice, and El Ideal, the ideal, in the 1880s. And, like, at that point, I had vague notions of her from my dad who told me about her, but, like, it wasn't um, I didn't know the full extent, but now looking back, I'm so glad I got to go to Shela and spend time with my cousin and like um just see the city, such an important city culturally for Guatemala. Um and also like with such a deep connection to me and my family and my the disabled community. Um and obviously seeing all the cousins, aunts, uncles and stuff like that was great. And then we went to Panajachel, and Panajachel also I have family, um Criollo family from there. Uh and but I mean, aside from that, Panajachel is just a great place to be, man. The beach and the mountains and everything, and like, um, we may or may not have gotten sloshed. One of the only times that I have gotten sloshed in my life while we were there. It was it was pretty fun, man. Like the nightlife for Panajachel is or just Pana as they say is um terrific, guys. Um and you know and then we went to Chiquimula, man, and like Chiquimula is where my mom is from, guys. My dad is from, La Capital, the capital city and stuff, but like, and man, that was my favorite place to be at that time. Like, I don't know, it's hot as heck there, and of course, I came back extremely burned. They called me camaroncito. Uh, because I was literally pink, bro. I mean, I have rosacea, but I mean, like, from the sunburn and stuff like that, because it got to, like, honestly, around 40 to 42 degrees C, or, like, in the hundreds Fahrenheit, I'm pretty sure, while I was there. And, like, I don't know, man, I got to meet so much of my mom's family and extended family, and you guys know how big Latino families are, and like, even though there was literally nothing to do there, it's honestly El Oriente, the East, is not that much of a developed part of um the of Guatemala. So, but like, family was goaded in that region for me. Like, um, honestly, if I ever make money, I know it's an uphill battle with a disability in the US and stuff, but that's where I would choose to live. Not gonna lie, because people are just so chill there, and like, I remember one day we went to look for my maternal grandparents' graves, and we found my I think my maternal grandmother's grave, but we couldn't find my grandfather's. Or maybe it was the other way around. This was 7 years ago now, more than 7 years ago now. So I can't remember, but like, you know, they were carrying me in my manual chair because the spaces were so tight and stuff like that. And I got to experience that one Tio that we have, uncle, that's literally always drunk. All he wants to do is like drink or be at the cantina We all have an uncle like that. I feel like Tío Julio, bro. May he que descanse en paz. May he rest in peace. And and I remember talking with him, telling him that like I went to school and stuff like that. That I was going into college, and he was like, "No lo puedo creer. I can't believe it." And like, I don't know, man. He was just funny. Shout out to Tío Julio, but uh, yeah, and another thing too there that I got to see, which was an experience to say the least, is that it was so hot that I had to take a shower basically 3 times a day. And like, in a lot of Latin American countries, especially Central America, there's this thing called la pila, which is like a trough, I guess, or a wash basin. I'm not sure exactly how you would translate it, but it's like connected to the pipe, and it's usually stone, and you fill it up with water, and you like that's how people shower. You use buckets and you pour the water over you, and that's how they showered me. Like, I would literally inside the house be you know stripped down, and then I would be put in my bath chair, which I had taken with me, and they would just throw the coldest water of all time on me. uh just buckets of water. That's how they showered me, man. And of course, like, obviously it was still freezing cold water, but since it was like hundreds of degrees slash 40 degrees C, and like, obviously it didn't feel so bad. But yeah, so anyway, that was cheeky. Oh, and also I went to see el Cristo Negro de Esquipulas, the Black Christ of Esquipulas. um we at the Cathedral of Esquipulas. And yeah, man, I mean, between that and going to my mother's hometown and stuff like that, I just it just was my favorite part. And then after that, we went to an even more rural department. Departments are like states, basically. That would kind of be the rough equivalent. Departamentos. We went to Zacapa, where I had even more distant cousins, man. And excuse me, um, and it was even more rural, guys, and there was even less to do. Most people just spent nights, drinking and like being crazy. But like, it was just as goaded as Cheeky Mula, guys. Like, it was just like there too, guys. The one thing I remember is that they gave me a drink of water, and it was well water, which has different microbes, and I'm used to treated water because I'm a city boy. And like, I literally almost threw up the water because it tasted gross to me. It tasted disgusting, guys. And like, yeah, and they didn't have like running water inside their house. They had a little outhouse that had like the shower and the toilet and everything. And because it was so small and they couldn't get me in that way, they couldn't like carry me in or fit my bath chair in there. In Zacapa, they bathed me by laying me out naked in my bath chair outside and washing me with the water hose. Literally, I mean, if you have to do it, you have to do it, bro. Um, and yeah, I mean, we came back, and for the rest of the trip, I'm pretty much spent it in the vicinity of Guatemala City. We didn't really go any place far, except for the one last time. I think we went to Castillo San Felipe, which is like this super well preserved port, slash castle fort, I guess. Uh, where it was really cool because there were a bunch of pirate graves, like English pirate graves everywhere, and like, um, they took me down into the like dungeon, guys, and they were telling me about how they used to torture English pirates, and like it was so cool, man. Um, yeah, and then during my last stretch in Guatemala City, we went to visit another uncle. I think he was my maternal grandma or one of my maternal grandmother's siblings, so I don't know what that would make. We just called him Theo. But uh I went to his house, and he also had a special needs child, but they weren't as wealthy, like, and they didn't have the resources to move like we did, and so his grandchild um was special needs, intellectually disabled, and basically they had him in a room all day, watching TV and stuff like that, just taking care of him, and like, that would have been me too had we not left, most probably. I probably, because of our wealth, would have had a little bit more tutoring maybe, but like, yeah, guys, because of the culture and resources, um, that were, just not present, he wasn't able to be integrated into society in any way, and he had had a bunch of surgeries, and like, bottom line is that a short time after I went, probably like a year after, um that man passed away. He passed away, guys, and I'll get into this when I'm wrapping up, but like, it had a large effect on me to hear that when I did. Um and then finally I went to go visit my paternal grandmother in Guatemala City also, although she lived like all the way at the other end of the city, like uh towards Carretera El Salvador. Um but yeah, I went to see her, and I went to see my aunt and uncle on that side, and that was the last time I ever saw her. We took pictures which I have back there, and she also gave me a picture of her when she was a teenager, which I also have back there. Um and yeah, I mean, with her it was around 10 years, 9.5 years since I last saw her, and like, I don't know, those memories will always stay with me always. And uh when I came back to the US, man, I really was a changed young man, a changed person. And like I've talked here about how much I struggled in my high school years personally and academically and stuff like that, but going back to Guatemala and seeing just how much my parents and especially my mom had sacrificed for me, it gave me renewed motivation and drive to, finish what I started in terms of academics and like trying to make my way in the world. And while I'm not completely there yet, I can proudly say that, like, you know, I have a master's degree, and I'm trying to get a career started. I'll talk about that some other time, but I'm slowly but surely getting there. And it wouldn't, and none of it would have been possible had I not gone to Guatemala and experienced what I did. All right, see you guys. Thank you so much for listening.